States and the Red Decade. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about the United States and the Red Decade, Miss Alana McLaughlin. Alana, let me welcome you to the show this morning, and I'm sure that you are no stranger in a real sense to our audience this morning. And I think earlier we were able to determine that you've been with us since you were 10 years old. And this says, I guess this is about your 8th year, beginning with a new season. But nevertheless, there might be some few people, Alana, who might not know you. And so in order to make sure that all of our audience know you and some of the things that you've been involved with, why don't you start us off by giving us some information in reference to your background, your education, and some of the experiences that you have gone through recently as well as earlier. And so let's start off by that, and then after that we'll talk about the United States and the Red Decade.
Well, as previously stated, my name is Alana McLaughlin. I began the show when I was 8, and this is my 7th year with the show. I am a sophomore at the Nashville School of the Arts, and my specialty is trumpet and concert band. I am heavily involved in many organizations, like for instance, I am an alumna of the Junior National Young Leaders Conference, the Summer Camp for Verbally and Mathematically Precocious Youth at Western Kentucky University, and the Summer Camp for Academically Talented Students, also at Western Kentucky University. For sports and activities of the sort, I do play trumpet for Pearl Cone High School. I am in their marching band of tradition. And I do things that revolve around me playing trumpet and things that specialize in my art. For instance, the Lady Antebellum concert that recently passed at Bridgestone Arena, the Nashville School of Arts was invited to perform at, and me and a couple other hand-picked students were performing with them on stage, which was a great experience. It was a great concert. So that's a bit about my background and my education, and that's basically the overview of Alana McLaughlin.
So Alana, today you want to talk about a topic that I'm sure that a large number of people have a real interest in, and that is the Soviet Union. And so in a real sense, you want to talk about the Red Decade, to make some statements in reference to the Soviet Union or Russia and the Red Decade. Now, a large number of our audience might not understand exactly what you mean when you talk about the Red Decade. So before we get into a discussion in reference to that, start us off with why this topic is important and the real name of the topic that you're dealing with this morning.
Well, the Red Decade was a period in the 1930s here in the U.S. where Stalinism and communism, people were infatuated with it, and politicians and journalists and higher-ups were so pro-communism, which is strange to think about because nowadays if you go around preaching communism and Stalinism and Marxism, people are going to look at you like you're insane, or well, the majority of U.S. citizens. And so this period, this term, the Red Decade, was coined by American journalist Eugene Lyons, which is slightly ironic because before Eugene Lyons stopped supporting communism, he was very pro-communism. He considered himself a part of the Stalinist Communist Party, and he did preach communism, just like it was almost a fad back in the 30s. And the Red Decade is also what really put a dent in Ayn Rand, the prolific writer, her career here in the U.S. Because if you are familiar with Ms. Rand, she is from communist Russia, and she left there to come to the U.S. And so basically, this Red Decade was just